I'll pay for it. This is my money, not the store's. The grocery store was crowded that Saturday afternoon, with long lines of tired people just trying to finish their shopping and get home. At register 4 stood a man in simple clothes. A worn jacket and quiet posture, holding a small basket filled with rice, beans, cooking oil and bread, the kind of basic items meant for survival, not luxury. When it was his turn, he patted his pockets once, then again. His expression tightened. "I'm sorry," he said softly to the cashier. "I think I forgot my wallet." Before the cashier could respond, the woman behind him burst out in frustration. "Are you serious right now? Some of us have places to be. Move out of the way." Heads turned, and the store manager quickly stepped forward. "Sir, if you can't pay, you'll need to step aside." The judgment in the air was thick until the cashier did something no one expected. Quietly, she reached into her own pocket, pulled out a crumpled $20 bill, her lunch money, her only cash for the day, and paid for his groceries. The man slowly looked up at her, calm and composed, and what he said next made the entire store fall silent. "My name is Akena Dio," he said, "founder and chairman of Diallo Holdings. I own this building." Akena looked down at his basket, 6 simple items. He remained calm, saying nothing, but the woman behind him was anything but patient. "I think this line is for people who are actually buying things," she snapped, saying the word important. Like it was a weapon and like her time was gold while his was dirt. Akena simply turned back around. Chimaka huffed loudly, checked her phone, and huffed again as the line crawled forward. When her phone rang, she answered on full speaker in the middle of the store. "Girl, you won't believe where I am right now, stuck in this cheap grocery store because my usual place was closed. The people in here, Zara, I can't." Akena could feel her eyes burning into his back. "There's this man in front of me. Looks like he just crawled out of I don't even know, and he's taking forever." Shoppers shifted uncomfortably. An elderly man behind her shook his head quietly, and a mother with 2 children pretended not to hear, though everyone heard every word. Chimaka didn't care. She wanted the audience. Finally, Akena reached the front of the line, and that's when he met the cashier. Her name tag read Naobi. She was 26, slim, with dark skin the color of rich earth after rain. Her natural hair was cut short, and she wore no makeup and no jewelry except a thin chain with a small cross. She didn't demand attention, she earned it. Her eyes were quiet but observant, and her gentle smile somehow survived the exhaustion. She carried every day, now worked 2 jobs. From 6 a.m. to 2 p.m., she was a cashier at Fresh Mart, earning minimum wage and whatever overtime she could scrape together. From 4 p.m. to 11 p.m., she cleaned offices downtown. In between, she attended night school for accounting, with only 2 semesters left. She lived in a small 1-bedroom apartment in East Point with her 16-year-old brother Toba, the reason she pushed herself so hard. 4 years earlier, their parents had died in a car accident in Nigeria. Na had spent 2 exhausting years and every dollar she had to bring Toba legally to America after discovering the aunt caring for him was abusive. Now she worked, he studied, and she made sure he never went without, even when it meant she did. "Good afternoon, sir," Na said warmly as Akena placed his items on the belt. She scanned the groceries and made gentle conversation. "Cooking something good tonight?" Akena smiled faintly. "I hope so. My mother's recipe, thiboudien." Na's eyes lit up. "Senegalese, right? I've never tried it, but I've heard it's amazing. Food is love, doesn't matter where it comes from." For the first time in weeks, Akena gave a real smile. When she finished scanning, she said, "Your total is $23.47, sir." Akena reached into one pocket, then another, then checked his jacket again. His face shifted from confusion to embarrassment. I think I forgot my wallet."
He searched again, slower this time. Nothing. "I'm so sorry. I must have left it at home."
"I don't have any money." Behind him, Chimaka erupted. "Oh, you have got to be kidding me." The store seemed to hold its breath. "Are you serious right now?"
I'm
"Sorry, I really am." But Chimaka wasn't finished. She spread her arms dramatically toward the other shoppers. Can you believe this? Comes in here looking like that and can't even pay. What is this? A homeless shelter. The store. Manager Gerald rushed over nervously. After a quick glance at the situation, he said carefully, Sir, if you can't pay, I'm going to have to ask you to step aside so we can… I'll pay for it. Every head turned. Na was already reaching into her apron pocket. She pulled out a crumpled $20 bill and a handful of coins, her lunch money, the only cash she had until payday in 4 days. Nah, you can't do that, Gerald protested. Store policy. She shook her head gently. I'm not using the store's money. I'm using mine. She smoothed the bill on the counter, counted out exactly $23.47, and rang it through the register before calmly bagging Akena's groceries. The store fell into a different kind of silence, not the silence of people minding their business, but the heavy silence of people witnessing something that exposed them. Every person in that line, including Chimaka, had watched a man struggle and done nothing, except the cashier making minimum wage. Chimaka finally scoffed. Well, that was your money to waste. Some of us aren't stupid enough to throw cash at strangers. Na ignored her completely and handed Akena the bags with a soft smile. Here you go, sir. You have a good evening. Akena didn't move. He studied her face carefully. 3 times in his life, women had tested him for his money. Now, a woman had just given hers away. Why did you do that? He asked quietly. Na shrugged, simple and sincere. You were hungry. You needed food. I had money. It's not complicated, he swallowed. But that was your lunch money. She smiled lightly. I've skipped lunch before. I'll survive. Besides, my mama always said, the hand that gives is the hand that receives. I believe that. Akena picked up his bags and walked toward the exit while every eye followed him. But just before the doors, he stopped. Slowly, he turned and walked back to register 4. Chimaka rolled her eyes. Oh, what now? Akena set the bags down, glanced once at the security camera, then reached into a hidden inner pocket of his jacket and pulled out an expensive phone. He pressed one button. Siku, bring the car to the front and bring the envelope. 30 seconds later, a black Mercedes S-Class pulled up outside. A sharply dressed driver stepped in and handed Akena a leather envelope. The store went completely still. The man in wrinkled khakis had just summoned a luxury car and chauffeur. Akena opened the envelope and placed a business card on the counter in front of Na. My name is Ikena Diallo. I am the founder and chairman of Dio Holdings. He paused, letting the words settle. I own this building. The color drained from Chimaka's face. The manager's jaw slackened. Shoppers froze. I came here today without my wallet on purpose, Akena continued calmly. I wanted to see what would happen when a man couldn't pay for rice and bread. I wanted to see who would help. And who would judge. He looked directly at Chimaka. You judged. Her mouth opened, but no words came. He turned to the other shoppers. You watched. Eyes dropped in shame. Finally, he looked back at Na. His voice softened. And you gave me everything you had. Na's hands trembled. Her eyes filled with tears. Akena stepped closer. You make minimum wage. You work 2 jobs. You're putting yourself through school. And when a stranger needed help, you didn't hesitate. My mother told me I would recognize real love when someone gives me something they can't afford to lose, and does it without being asked. Tears streamed down Na's face. The store was so quiet the hum of the refrigerators sounded loud. That $20, Akena said gently, is worth more to me than every building I own. Because it was given with a pure heart. An elderly man began to clap. The mother with the children, then the bag boy. Within seconds, the entire store was on its feet, applauding in the middle of Fresh Mart on Cascade Road. Only Chimaka stood frozen in the middle of it all, shrinking under the weight of what had just happened. And before the day was over, the video of that moment would spread across the internet like wildfire, not because Akena wanted attention, but because genuine kindness is impossible to ignore when the whole world is starving for it. The moment went viral because someone in the store had quietly filmed the entire scene on their phone. Within hours, the headline was everywhere. Billionaire reveals identity after cashier pays for his groceries. 22 million views in just 3 days. Every news outlet wanted interviews, statements, reactions, but Akena wasn't interested in the spotlight. What mattered to him was what happened next. After leaving the store that day, he had asked Na one simple question. Can I take you for coffee? I'd like to hear your story. She met his gaze with calm honesty. I can't. I have my second job in 2 hours. I clean offices downtown. He nodded. Tomorrow. She shook her head gently. I work tomorrow too. He smiled. Then when is your next day off? She thought for a moment. Thursday, I think. Thursday it is. Name the place. She suggested a small cafe on Jonesboro Road. Nothing fancy, she said, but the coffee was good and the owner was kind. That was perfect for him. When Thursday arrived, Akena came alone in simple clothes, driving an old Honda he kept for quiet moments. Na was already there in a corner booth, wearing a yellow sundress she had clearly pressed with care, probably her nicest outfit. She stood when she saw him. I wasn't sure you'd actually come, he smiled softly. I wasn't sure you'd actually be here. They sat and talked for 4 hours. Na told him everything about Enugu, about the phone call that shattered her world, about the Lagos-Benin expressway where her parents lost their lives while she was thousands of miles away working and sending money home. She spoke about her brother, about the cruel aunt, about the 2-year immigration fight to bring him to America. He's 16 now, she said proudly. Brilliant. He wants to be an engineer. Akena squeezed her hand gently. I can imagine, he said. Because I was once a fisherman's son who became a builder in America. She told him about working 2 jobs, about night school, about the days she skipped meals so her brother wouldn't have to. When he asked why she chose accounting, her answer was simple and sharp. Because numbers don't lie. People do. I want to build something honest one day. Finally, Akena confessed the truth. That day in the store, I didn't actually forget my wallet. Na just smiled knowingly. I figured. The phone pocket worked perfectly. He blinked. You're not angry? She shook her head. No, you were searching for something real. Sometimes people test the world because the world has hurt them. My mother taught me that. In that small cafe over cheap coffee and quiet honesty, something genuine began to grow. But while something beautiful was forming between them, something very different was happening to Chimaka. The internet had found her. Clips of her words spread everywhere. Some of us have places to be. What is this? A homeless shelter. The backlash was brutal. Her name trended for days. Her employer was flooded with complaints. She posted a tearful apology video. Bad day. Out of character. Church every Sunday. But the footage told a clearer story than her words. Within a week, the beauty supply chain terminated her employment. 2 weeks later, her leased Lexus was repossessed. Friends who once filled her phone stopped answering. In the digital age, one ugly moment can echo for years. Meanwhile, 6 months passed and Akena and Na moved slowly and intentionally. No flashy gifts, no pressure, just steady time together. He did, however, help in 3 meaningful ways. First, he paid for her final 2 semesters of school, not as charity, but as a loan she insisted on repaying. Second, he created a full university scholarship for her brother, which brought the young boy to tears at the kitchen table. Third, he arranged mentorship for Na with his company's accounting department. I don't want to give you a job, he told her. I want to give you knowledge. When she graduated 4 months later at the top of her class, Akena sat proudly in the front row beside Siku and Tio BA. After the ceremony, he took her back to the same humble cafe where they first talked. Why here? She asked. Because this is where you became real to me, he replied. Then he pulled out a small ring box. Inside wasn't a diamond, just a simple gold band engraved with $23.47. The exact amount she had spent on his groceries. That number changed my life, he said quietly. Will you marry me? Not the billionaire, just Akena, the fisherman's son? Through tears and laughter she whispered yes. Months later, fate completed the circle. One afternoon at register 4, a humbled Chimaka returned to Freshmart in plain clothes, eyes heavy with hard lessons. When she came up $3 short at checkout, she began putting items back, until Na quietly covered the difference from her own pocket. Chimaka broke down. After everything I said, why would you help me? Na gave the same gentle answer she had given before. Because you're hungry. You need food, I have money. It's not complicated. That moment changed Chimaka in ways the internet never could. 3 months later, Akena and Na were married. Not in a luxury hotel, but right there inside Freshmart on Cascade Road. Shelves were pushed aside, string lights hung overhead, and 50 guests filled the aisles. Behind Register 4, where everything began, they exchanged vows. He promised her rice and beans and truth. She promised to love the fisherman's son, not the billionaire, and to always keep $23.47 in her pocket, just in case. Laughter and tears filled the store. The following year, Na launched her own accounting firm, Obe Financial Services. Her first client was Freshmart, and she never charged them $1. As for Chimaka, she eventually found work again, this time humbler, wiser, and far more patient with every customer who stepped into her line, and the lesson remained clear. A river does not drink its own water, a tree does not eat its own fruit, and the sun does not shine for itself. The richest person in any room is not the one with the biggest wallet, it is the one with the biggest heart. So the next time someone in front of you can't pay, don't judge, help. You never know who is watching. And you never know what that small act of kindness might be worth.